guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. And boy, is it good to be back. Just got back from the Far East yesterday, a little bit of a buying trip and vacation. I'm going to make a video about the pickups on there soon. But today I wanted to discuss a pretty big problem I've noticed in the watch industry, and one that maybe you have noticed, and that is some pretty crazy service times. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm still wearing my Nomos Tangomat GMT, the best travel watch I've ever worn and owned. I'm going to make a video about this because I've really bonded with this watch. And also, guys, don't forget to check out delraywatch.com. A bunch of cool inventory in stock, including the very hard to find Omega Seamaster 1948 vintage reissue. This is a true home run from Omega. When it came out, sold out almost instantly. We have a new generation 126610 Submariner date, lowest one in the country. What's not to love about that? And a JLC Master Calendar, new generation blue boutique only dial, also the lowest one in the country, and this one is a true beauty. All that and way more at delraywatch.com, the best place for a watch geek to buy a watch. Link in the description below. So yeah, guys, I want to talk a little bit about watch servicing from a few perspectives. Now, obviously, we have watchmakers here at Delray Watch, and we use some outside contractors too. And lately, I've been noticing, we've been a little swamped. In fact, we're not taking in any new work that's not either warranty related or just servicing watches that come in that we buy. And I didn't really know what to think about that in the beginning. Delray Watch has been growing. Maybe we're just more popular. And I think that's a factor. Parts have been slow to come in. Maybe that's a little to do with COVID supply chains. But, we're a relatively small service shop, right? So I'm thinking, our sales are growing, so let's just focus on servicing our warranties and servicing our watches that we buy, as opposed to external servicing. And I didn't really think too much of it. I thought business is going well, good for me, right? But, occasionally we send watches out for service because we can't get all the parts. And lately, we've sent watches out for service to Omega, Breguet, Panerai, IWC, and Patek Philippe, all with varying different levels of wait time. And I was a little shocked. And I want to talk to you about that today. Now, the first one, the most shocking probably, is just an Omega Seamaster, a Bond-era Omega Seamaster. I needed... Now, we can service that no problem, but there was a problem with the main plate. Now, we can get a 2892 main plate, but it won't be stamped by Omega, and obviously I can't sell something like that. So I sent it into Omega for service and the new main plate for the movement. Now, this is a very basic watch. The service was inexpensive. So I sent it into Omega, and they sent me back a letter saying this is a special service, must go to Switzerland. Okay, that's weird. Price was not crazy, but they quoted me 7 months. 7 months to service a time and date Omega Seamaster with a 2892 that just needs a main plate. Now, I could gather a couple things. It's probably going to Switzerland because of the main plate. Okay, no big deal, but to service a 2892 takes 2.5, 3 hours, plus QC. So 7 months for a non-complicated watch, absolutely shocking. Shocking. But you know what? Okay, nothing I can do about it. I move on. A week later, my personal Breguet Marine, the big date got stuck. And I show it to my watchmaker, and he says, listen, it needs a spring. I can't order it, so you got to send it to Breguet. No problem. I call Breguet. Now, the Marine is one of their entry-level models. It's just time, big date. I get a quote, 9 months from Breguet. 9 months to service my watch. Whatever. Found a spring on eBay, had my watchmaker fix it. That's fine. Then I had a Panerai Rattrapant. This is a more complicated watch, needed a barrel. I call Panerai. 6 months. 6 months. Guys, this is nuts. Servicing, at least, 5-6 years ago, is supposed to be 4 to 8 weeks, and generally on the lower side of that. Yeah, paddock would take some longer time. In fact, I called paddock. They quoted 3 months, which for paddock is 100% fair. I mean, Henry Stern Watch Agency, New York, 3 months to service my Calatrava travel time. Not a big deal at all. In fact, they did it in just under 3 months. I was pretty happy. And an IWC perpetual under warranty, they did it in 2 months. So IWC and paddock, good for you. But Omega, 7 months on a simple Seamaster, Breguet, 9 months on an entry-level Marine, and Panerai, 6 months on a modified 7750. I mean, that's absolutely nuts. And all I can think about, because also, not blaming them, Delray's also been overwhelmed by service. I just think there's a total and utter lack of watchmakers, especially in this country. I mean, as far as I know, there's only a handful of watchmaking schools in the US. There's the Hayek School in Miami, which, I don't know, probably graduates 20, 30 people a year. There's the Lititz School in Pennsylvania, and a handful of other schools. There's not a lot of watchmakers coming out, and there's a big need for them. And I think watchmakers are generally underpaid. Some of them can make $50,000, $60,000 out of school, which might sound like a decent salary. And I'm not saying it isn't, but this is a highly specialized profession. I think they should be getting paid more. And I think COVID, with the watch market boom, everybody got into watch collecting. Well, now more watches need service. And you shouldn't have to call Omega a luxury brand and say my simple entry level for Omega Seamaster needs service, and they quote you 7 months, and Breguet quotes you just short of a year. This is absolute insanity. What's the point of this video? To be honest, I don't know. I guess it's more of a rant, but there's a major shortage of watchmakers. Service times are going through the roof. I even know a lot of independents that are not accepting service. And so I kind of feel for the brands. I'm not necessarily blaming them, apart from the fact that maybe they should have seen this coming. But I don't know what the solution is here. I mean, not a lot of people want to become watchmakers. And people say watchmaking is a dying art, but I can tell you there's never been more of a need for qualified watchmakers than there are today. Service times are taking forever. I think brands and companies like mine need to pay more for watchmakers. We need to compete, get more of them on staff, because this is starting to hurt collectors and customers. Now, luckily, at Delray, our warranty work doesn't take a very long time, and we're still servicing the watches that come in pretty quickly, but I've had to sacrifice a revenue-generating watchmaking work to make that happen. But a prestige brand like Omega and Breguet, quoting their customers 7 and 9 months respectively, that's absolutely insane. We need to graduate more watchmakers. We need to make watchmaking school maybe more affordable. We need more watchmaking schools. And we just got to get people interested in this again, because there is such a bottleneck happening right now that honestly, it's a little scary. I wanted to know if you guys have experienced this. I mean, as I said, in my experience, watch service should take 4 to 8 weeks, sometimes a little longer if you need a part, sometimes a little longer if it's a very complicated watch, but 4 to 8 weeks, not 7 months, 9 months, a year plus. That is totally unheard of unless it's an extremely special watch. So what do you guys think? Have you been experiencing this? What are your feelings towards this? Let me know. I'd love to get kind of your guys' feelings on the subject, because honestly, I'm pretty darn frustrated. Anyway, guys, that's it for me today. Simple video. I just got back from a couple of very long flights, but regular scheduled programming is on the way. Guys, leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really does help. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more content. And of course, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.